Hello and welcome back to the OPL. You're getting a look at Sin Gaming as they take to Summoner's Rift in our second set of the day against Avant Gaming, team that is looking to make a solid push into the playoffs now that they've secured themselves a Gauntlet seed. Actually, everyone's secured in Gauntlet.
Yep.
Nothing can change anymore. With that 2-1 victory of Legacy over Order, you guys are now in Gauntlet. Congratulations,
Thanks,
Calvin.
mate. Appreciate it.
Well played, well played. That series has a lot to. This series now has a lot to live up to, because I feel like that was a pretty spicy set one, and now Sin Gaming, without really any pressure on them, get to take a pretty much free swing at Avant.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Sin. I mean, Gauntlet's settled, so there's no pressure on them really, other than the pressure to perform. You know, the pressure you put on yourself.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we might see some out of left field things, or perhaps some very confident play. You know, willing to back themselves a little bit more because they're not so afraid of losing. And
I think that for two players in particular that I want to talk about straight away off the bat, that this game means more than anyone else, is the two players that have contracts expiring after split number one. That is going to be Bedoink and Dream on the side of Sin Gaming. Yeah, they're only on half-year contracts.
Yeah, right.
So who do you think, like those two players, you're a GM, you obviously scout talent a lot.
Yep.
What do you think about Bedoink and Dream? They're two rookies.
We'll start with Bedoink. I think the thing with Bedoink is the word rookie gets thrown around a lot when talking about Bedoink. I mean, it's even on the graphic here, but really, this is a guy who's been playing the game competitively as long as anyone else. Yep. I mean, the fact he's still playing, and I've retired, and I think that technically means that he's been playing for longer than I have now. So as far as I'm concerned, he's not a rookie. He's been around the traps for a long time. He's just never been able to break into that upper echelon of mid laners. Mid lane, probably the most talented role in the region, and Bedoink has just always floated outside the top 8. Now, Sin have taken a chance on him this split, trying to see what he can do, and to be honest, I personally haven't been impressed. I think this is a guy who's been around for ages. He's finally broken in, and he's still found himself at the bottom of the table. As a GM, you know, I very seriously begin considering my mid lane.
And I think the frustrating thing for me when I watch Bedoink is he's got the tools, but he doesn't necessarily utilize them in the right way. He's got the mechanics, but then he'll go into 1v1s more often than, you know, use them to blister a team fight or something like that. The games that he's translated on the Cassiopeia, he's looked good, but they've just been few and far between.
Yep.
What are your takes on Dream? Young man, took himself to Korea. You said he also hung out in your house a little bit?
Yep, he was close friends with Lost. Every game I used to play against, or play with Dream rather, in solo queue in team chat, he would always say, if I carried this game, can you please introduce me to Lost? Can you please introduce me to Lost? Every single, and I'm talking like, I can probably remember like at least 5 or 6 occasions where he said that.
Yep.
This is a guy who is desperate to get better. He came to our house, he stayed with us for a little bit just to work with Lost and hopefully improve. Sent himself to Korea, like I said, on his own dime, trying to improve. He spent a lot of time at the Chief House as well, training with them. This is a guy who has a fantastic attitude towards improvement, and I think eventually he will make something of himself.
And I think that he's also got better. I mean, we saw against teams like Order, he was able to buffer those jumps. He's playing on the knife's edge. He's trying to take that step. And I certainly think for a young man, 17 years of age, he's got leadership quality, which you don't see in every player. Makes me excited for him. However, to get their tank on this best of 3, let's throw it over to Sharp and Laura.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, we're into our second series of the day, Avant Gaming going up against Sin Gaming. And starting with Avant, they're coming off a 2-0 win over Tectonic, but they released a very spicy episode of AV live during the week where they spoke about a few of their issues they've been facing and some changes they're making to fix those issues. So it'll be very interesting to follow their performance in this series and see if they've fixed any of those issues. But I want to talk about Sin because, as Carbon mentioned, they have nothing left to lose. They're out of the gauntlet contention, so possibly they'll perform better this series because they don't have that pressure on their shoulders. Bedoink and Dream and these upcoming players can potentially use it as an opportunity to improve their craft and prove their worth, essentially, heading into Split 2. But as well, Juves could just ramp the boys up and do something left field. Sharp, what do you think?
Yeah, so they're in a bit of a weird situation, you know. Sometimes, so from our Direwolves experiences or my experiences as a player, when you're in a situation where you have the weight lifted off your shoulders, you could potentially even play better because you don't have that pressure on you. You know, you're free to experiment, you're free to make those riskier plays because you're not concerned too much with the result. But conversely, you know, they could actually also have adverse effects. You know, you could also not care as much, so you don't put as much effort in. You don't have your heart and soul into the game. So it'll be interesting to see which way this goes. It could potentially be a one-sided stomp 2-0 to Avant, but it could also be flip side, Juves and the guys pulling out some pretty crazy pricks, like Carbon said, and then turning it around for a victory. So, bit of a wildcard game.
Well, if you did have to decide, who would you give this series to, Sharp?
I'm actually going to go out on a limb again and say that it will be 2-1 to Avant, but I think that Sin actually have the capabilities in their roster to take off a game.
Well, the last time you went out on a limb last series, it worked out, but I'm going to give this one 2-0 to Avant Gaming. But remember, if you would like to make your own predictions at home, head on over to opltips.com.au. We have XP, boost, and RP prizes up for grabs, as well as those $25, $50, and $100 Hungry Jacks vouchers. More information on the competition and how you can enter can be found over at opltips.com.au. Sharp will also be answering your questions very shortly, so if you have any last-minute questions to send them over to us on Facebook or Twitter using the hashtag like no other, and you could win yourself a mystery skin. Thank you once again for your thoughts, Sharp. But to get the second series started, let's hand it back over to Jake and Carbon.
Thank you, Laura. And I've been told that the players are ready to get into game, so let's get straight into the lineups. On the blue side, it is going to be Avant Gaming, Pabu in the top lane, only their jungler, Frey in the mid lane, Blinky and Jake are the two halves of the Bash Bros, and of course Charlie Wraith is their coach. They're going up against Sin Gaming. Praedyth is their top laner. Juves is their captain. Shotcaller and jungler. Bedoink in the mid lane. Dream their AD carry. Kuden their support. And Vicarious their coach. And whilst we said that this is a game with potentially no pressure for Sin, I also think this is a very important game for Avant to build that momentum, to start climbing into the gauntlet. They need to make a serious run this year. They made a lot of changes from last split, and they've ended up in the exact same destination. Yeah,
just to touch very quickly on the standings. With Legacy winning that game over Order, it's still very likely, or sorry, very possible that Legacy can take fourth spot and get that the seeding, so get the side selection. Legacy and Avant will be playing each other in the first round of the gauntlet, no matter what happens. But ultimately, who gets to choose which side is still to be determined. So AV, a little bit of pressure there still to make sure that they secure that fourth spot, so that they do get the side selection. But to talk about the changes, I mean, yes, they did make a lot of changes, but you need to think also about who stayed, and that is the bot lane, Jake, the captain, Blinky, the AD carry. AD carry, in my opinion, the most important role in the game.
Yep.
But also the coach. And so despite making a number of changes, they've sort of found themselves in the same spot they find themselves in every split.
Yep.
Fourth or fifth, looking to make it deep, having to run the entire gauntlet. And so, well, I mean, I don't want to cast doubt on those guys and say that they're doing a bad job, because quite frankly, I don't know. I don't know the inner workings of that team, despite watching AV live once in a while. But yeah, the pillars of that team remain the same, and they've maintained the same results. So, I mean, I see a bit of a pattern there.
Yeah, take from that what you will. It is going to be Camille, Tristana, Gangplank banned away by Avant, so another blue side GP ban. It's going to be Zayat, Rise, Galio banned away by Sin Gaming, and immediately Frey locks in Azir for himself in the mid lane. High priority on Azir this patch.
Yeah, I mean, Azir's he's just super strong. Like, I mean, he got nerfed on 8.5.
Yep.
He wins lane, he scales, he pokes, he wave clears. He has ability to initiate with the Shurima Shuffle, so
he forces every assassin out of the mid lane, which
he's got
is
options.
Very annoying.
Let's just say that. He's got options.
He's got every option in the game. It's going to be Praedyth picking up the support for Kuden in the Braum, and Dream's going to grab himself a Varus, a champion that we've seen rise in popularity with Zaya as well as Tristana banned away, has risen to the top of the AD carry pool.
The thing about Varus is, because of the build, you can get away with building very defensive items. If you can build defensive and still do damage, you're OP, I think. Or if not OP, you're extremely strong. And the fact that Varus, we saw it in the Legacy series, Raid was building either Merc Treads or Ninja Tabi. I'm sure that Dream will probably do the same. Get himself a Gwynsu's, get a Wit's End, and then start stacking lifesteal. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
He has CC, he has damage. He's extremely tanky for an AD carry. He's just a really strong pick right now.
Does it all. And honestly, with a Braum...
yeah, almost. He's got wave clear as well, so options again.
With a Braum, he's got like anti-healing on his E. He's got percentage health damage. Like, actually, and with Braum, he is very, very good at being protected.
They synergize very well as well. One ult into the Braum tag, into Braum ult, into the Q. Varus does a lot of damage.
CC for days. It's going to be Olaf picked up for only, and Pabu's going to grab himself a Gnar pick in the top lane.
Yep.
Not wanting to be pinched on mid lane pool anymore, but Doink grabs himself a Victor. This is something that Claire's played. Tell me your thoughts on Victor at the moment.
I'm not sure about him. I mean, there was that Korean build floating around for a little bit where you go the defensive item.
Abyssal Mask into Iceborne Gauntlet.
Yep. And you just go like a defense sort of mid-late game build where you're just clearing waves, you're just unkillable, then you transition into damage later on. But I just don't know about it. I mean, Azir scales better. He's better early. He's better in the mid game. Like, Azir's just better, I think. Yep. But Victor's... I mean, I don't think he's very good right now.
It's one of the old school matchups we used to see. When Azir was first brought out with Xerath, you would see Xerath Azir or Victor Azir, like nearly every single game. So I've seen it a lot, and I think it's boring. However, it's going to be Caitlyn, Ezreal, Kha'Zix picked up. I like Assassins. When do Assassins come back? Do you remember when you and Aaron were running around on Summoner's Rift? Zed and Lee Sin.
Very fond memories.
Just diving turrets left, right, and center. What happened to that time?
I don't know,
We're old men.
I mean, to be honest, they just took jungle. They took power away from the jungle. I mean, they took damage out of the jungle. They do it every year. The year starts off with jungle getting damage, and then by the end of the year, they've just been completely neutered. They take all the damage out of the jungle because people hate playing against carry junglers. That's just the crux of it. By the end of the year, everyone's saying, tanks are so boring. We don't want to watch tank junglers. We don't want to watch just farm fests. So do something about jungle. So at the start of every season, right, it's like, okay, well, let's completely revamp the jungle. And they do that. Carry junglers come back. And then I mean, jungle it's only 20% of your team. 80% of your teammates are not junglers, and they hate playing against carry junglers. So an 80% of the league population is like, actually, you know what? I changed my mind. Don't want to play against 10-0 Kha'Zix. Don't want to play against Rengar, Nidalee, Grave, all these champions that one-shot me. Don't want to play. So then, by the end of the season, we just have Sejuani versus Zac again.
The two most misunderstood roles are mage support players like Brand, Zyra, Annie mains, and AD jungle mains. I feel like every single year you could play those two roles at the start, and then they just get taken away from you. As we see Skarner, Cogbor, Taric, and a potential Wukong hover.
He's not on the team, but his legend lives on.
He actually played well for you guys in the first 2 weeks of the split.
I agree.
Someone that had a good resurgence into the OPL.
At one point in the season, we were 2-3, 2 victories and 3 losses. We had only won games with Ceres. We had not won any games with our hot new Korean import. So it was fun to make fun of Mimic.
However, you have just beaten Order.
We did.
I think that's revitalized your season, at least in my eyes.
I mean, is it that big an accomplishment, really?
I don't know. How much do you want to shit on me right now?
I'm kidding. They're obviously a very talented side, and if you could not tell by my cheering mid-cast, I was very excited to be able to win, even if it was 2-1.
For those that don't know as well, I promise that Carbon and I do get along. We go out for beers and stuff. We have dinner
Sleeps
together.
At my house every weekend.
Stay at his house every weekend. We're okay. It's going to be a Cho'Gath top lane into the Gnar. Cho'Gath is rising in popularity right now. He's got one of those legacy kits that really isn't talked about a lot, but, you know, Cone Silence, something that you don't see in new champions. 3 seconds. Knock up and a slow. He gets big. Like, big hitbox.
Big.
Something that you don't talk about very much, but, you know, is sometimes important when things like Braum Qs are being thrown out there, having a big fat tank to stand in front.
If it's harder to click on your AD carry, I mean, that can only be a good thing. So it's one of those, you know, I don't know what you would call that. But
it's like hidden power. No one talks about it, but at the highest level, it certainly
does make an impact. As we get a look at Juventus, 6 foot, 1 million, 2 trillion IQ.
Outsmarted Levi.
Did outsmart Levi despite losing the game. Only pick up the Olaf. I think Only's Olaf is quite good.
Okay.
I've seen it in solo queue a little bit. He's a pretty good Olaf. It suits his style as well. Only loves to farm. Olaf farms extremely quickly.
I feel like this is only in Babip's patch. I mean, if we just saw Sybil do that in a game, I'm just thinking about what Only's going to do in a game, what Babip's going to do in a game, because they both love to play that style. We in fact saw Babip trying to play that style a little bit, even on the previous patch with the Nidalee lock-in earlier. So I'm excited. That man on your screen, he can play anything. He can do anything.
He can do it all.
He's the captain of Sin Gaming. However, we're not going to speak to him at all as we get on to Summoner's Rift for game number 1 between Avant Gaming and Sin Gaming. That's an SKT Olaf.
It is. He's got the red axes and the red ult. I don't know. It's like skins like that, you want to say like they do more damage, but I feel like this one in particular is almost squishier.
Oh, really?
When he ults and it's so red, it's just like, oh, just kill this guy.
You can see him much more clearly. Take him out, however, to hear about the draft from game number 1 of Avant Gaming. Let's throw it over to Laura and Charlie Wraith.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm standing here alongside Charlie. Now, in the last episode of AV Live, you spoke about some of the issues the team's been facing and also some changes you've made. How have those changes helped the team so far?
Yeah, quite a lot. The changes that we've made have made it so our post-game discussions in between our games have been more productive. I've been working on my mediation and keeping it very relevant and making sure that we always have a goal going into practice, and it's helped a lot.
Taking a look at this game, though, Olaf is a champion that's risen in popularity. But can you explain to us how he works within your team's composition?
Sure. So Olaf's going to run at them, and he's not going to get hit by their CC. Varus and Braum aren't going to have a very easy time peeling Olaf. And earlier on in the game, he just does a lot of base damage, but his weaknesses, later on in the game, he falls off and he becomes a real big liability because he just does absolutely nothing. But we hopefully can snowball early with him.
Well, the casters were also talking about the Victor pick coming out on the side of Sin. So I wanted to ask you on your thoughts on Victor in the meta at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think he's the greatest champion at the moment. The mid pool was rather pinched this game. The main three, Galio, Azir, and Ryze were taken out. So Azir is something you can fall back on. I think it has pretty consistent damage and it scales really nicely, but doesn't really offer too much in the realms of CC or much else, really.
Well, best of luck with this game, Charlie, and thanks so much for talking to us.
Thanks.
As we get a lock into the bottom lane, this is the second week in a row that Dream and Kuden have refused to take the safe path and have been smacked in the head for it. Stun goes down, big damage out onto Kuden and Dream. You can see that Blinky and Jake are just fighting them away from experience and away from creeps.
And the crazy part about it is that Dream leads.
Yep.
If you were paying attention, Dream was, 2 or 3 Teemos ahead of Kuden, and he just face checked the ball. I mean, you need to let your support face check if,
especially a Braum.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that. The Sin bot lane at level 1 is quite strong. I mean, probably not stronger than the Cogmore, but still, you can't be the one to face check, and they get punished. And I mean, it's a 10 CS lead already, and they'll probably get stuck under their tower for a while now. Yeah,
especially given the fact that they've burnt 2 pots onto Kuden as well as a pot onto Dream. The sustain battle against the Taric is already very difficult to win when you don't have sustain, let alone when you give away free potions at the start of the game. As we see, Only goes for a very quick jungle path. He's picked up plenty of camps right now, 24 CS to the 20. See Juves doing a full clear on his side of the map.
Well, the thing is as well is with this bot priority that Only now has, he can walk straight into the bottom side jungle, doesn't need to be worried about Skarner being there at all, just picks it up.
And this is actually a risky camp to do on the current patch, purely because of the blast plant changes. In the past, blast plant would be up on this wave, and you'd just be able to pop over the wall. However, because it was delayed due to the ganking paths being restricted, it's actually riskier for the counter jungle as well. However, it gets out scot-free, and he's going to have a camp advantage right now.
Yeah, and the other thing is the Sin bot lane is so dangerous. Varus, Braum, if Skarner is there, there's no way that AV win a skirmish in that scenario, and could have been a dead Olaf, but that's the thing about priority.
Yeah, absolutely. You see Juves has a little bit of spare time for himself, gets a deep ward, good door goes up from Kuden, means that Dream will be able to get access to the creep wave at least briefly there. Jake has picked himself up some biscuits as well, and you can see that they're sitting at full HP. Jake's at full mana. And this lane's still looking pretty rough. However, they have battled their way back in. Meanwhile, mid lane, 7 CS over to Frey. I feel like this is one of the few times Frey has been in a very strong winning position in the mid lane. Not something we necessarily credit Avant with. A good laning mid laner. Frey more known for his teamfight utility on champions like the Orianna.
Yeah, he's definitely not a big laning mid laner.
Yep.
But is serviceable certainly. But Doink getting chunked out, getting out-traded quite hard. He does have the fleet footwork, so he is going to have a bit of sustain. He does have the heal as well, but I think he's just going to opt into going home here, which is probably the smart decision. And that's what I was talking about. Victor just not that strong, I don't think.
Yeah, and the problem with Victor has always been is that you need a 1350 shop on the first back.
Yep.
Otherwise, you don't get the item you want, as we see Only
Predator popped.
Going into the top lane with Predator. Predator hits a very nice rupture, dodges out on the axe, probably as well as he could play it.
Yep. Very well played there. As
both summoner spells.
And no flash from Juves. Didn't even burn his Predator. Wait, you can't tell from the icon. My bad.
You can tell from the boots.
Yep. So he did burn his Predator, so he forces the flash.
Ooh, here we go.
Coming mid, but they know.
Thinks he's got it, and you were right. They sniffed it out, and now Juves comes back and says, come on, mate. I'll help you get that into the turret. Only going to chuck an axe.
Walk straight into the lane. I've got to say, when that happens, just I mean, I think Skarner just used his E on the wave maybe, but
yeah.
just E the Olaf. I mean, what's he going to do? You just walk up and stun him, force a flash? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think right now Juves was just focusing too much on getting that wave into the turret when really probably should have been looking for something there, especially given the fact that all the summoner spells were available, so it's not like Bedoink was going to die. He had heal up and available. As we see, Bedoink does get his shop in. We'll be able to go back and get that first upgrade onto the Hex Core. So a nice shop in the end versus just going to be a Stinger. One of the worst items to... I hate building Stinger. Whether it's a Trinity Force, whether it's the making of my Nashes, Stinger is not a fun item in the game.
Agreed. But only doing his only thing and being almost the highest CS in the game despite playing jungle.
He is now.
Like I said, Olaf...
Oh, actually, no.
Yeah, except for... yeah, sorry, Cogmore.
Damn you, Cogmore.
But yeah, like I said, Olaf is absolutely an only champ. He's just able to power farm so quickly. He's already level 6. Juves is still looking for it. Probably won't hit it until he finishes his red buff.
And look at this. This is very cute. He's waiting around for a blue buff spawn. Will be spotted out by Kuden right now. But he has that ultimate available, does it very quickly, and he's just pulling Kuden away from the lane, meaning that AV is going to be able to crash the wave and now join. Exactly.
So this is textbook out of only. Well played by him in both the bot lane. They're just waiting for that bot wave to get shoved in. Cho'Gath having the push on the other side means that Sin can answer with a blue buff, so that's a good thing for Juves. But both teams playing quite well around their priority. And Steel.
Now you know who really loses out? Both mid laners. Yep. Both mid laners are yelling at their jungles right now, like, why are you counter jungling? However, potentially going to be a dive coming out here, so you understand why he is counter jungling. Those axes hurt.
Yep, they absolutely do. Skarner is moving his way into the bot lane. They are afraid. You can see the Sin, they're just sitting on the tower despite Cog being So they're just waiting for the wave to come to them because they're deathly afraid. No flash in the mid lane, no cleanse, Predator pop by Juves.
Yeah, you'd expect this to be the kill. He goes back towards his Olaf, something that we don't see all that much. Olaf, of course, can use the ultimate to break out of the Skarner ulti. One of the few interactions like that in the game. I think Oranges also do it from GP. Frey, however, gets a big chunk here and actually might fall down still.
Oh,
nicely played from Bedoink.
Yeah, big ult from Bedoink. Again, just let Olaf walk straight in, despite Frey being unable to fight.
That's really annoying you, isn't
it? It is. I mean, it's the small things, and especially watching other junglers. You know what I mean? It's the tiny things that trigger you. Like, when I see someone make like a huge mistake, I'm sort of like, oh, whatever, man. Mistakes happen. Like, you know, that happens. You miss the smite on the Baron. Oh,
bummer.
That happens. Exactly, bummer. But like, if I see you like not auto resetting on your when you're doing a camp on Sejuani or like not like animation cancelling on Nidalee, those are the things that really trigger me. Like, come on, man. Like, you're a pro player. You should know how to do that.
Do you want to know what upsets Swiffer? You probably know this actually.
Let me know. I might.
Cannon creep. Ooh, as Frey gonna dash away. He can tell you how many cannon creeps he misses in a laning phase after a game.
Oh, really?
He'll come out and he'll be like, I missed 6 cannons that game.
Wow.
And I'll be like, ooh. Like, is that bad? Like, mate, I'm in CS all the time. I feel like lots of pro...
I'm happy with 6 cannons.
Yeah, I feel like lots of pro players actually have those small tells in their play. Like, I talk about Spooks all the time. You know, if he gets 2 Rift Scuttlers at the start of the game, he's on cloud 9. Doesn't matter if the other jungler has like 4 kills. He's like, look at the vision I've set up for you. And he path away at it again.
Control of both sides. What more could you want?
However, this lane has reversed very hard from Bedoink after 1 gank from Juves, so you have to give credit to Juves. Hasn't been able to pick up a first blood as he's been able to so many times.
Also 30 CS down, but he has turned this lane around.
I feel like on Skarner, you can't really match an Olaf speed if he wants to put the boots in.
I don't know, man.
Really? Skarner that quick?
Clears so fast. When he has those, the Spires, he clears his camp so quickly. I mean, Olaf is extremely quick as well, but I mean, Skarner's no slouch.
There you go. Burn Juves. Checking with the lane.
Wits End completed for Cogmore, so he's just opting into that magic resist. Good pickup. Skarner, mostly magic damage. Cho'Gath, mostly magic damage. Victor, obviously magic damage. Varus, a lot of magic damage as well. So
Kuden passive.
Yep, I like it. He's going to be, he's very strong right now.
It's also one of the cheapest starting items in the game as we see a flash coming out of Bedoink as Parbu's roamed down. However, now Parbu's in trouble. Will have to flash as well. Can Juves catch up to him? Had the flash available and just didn't burn it. Takes the summoner spells and gets out.
Yeah, absolutely the right call there from Juves. Parbu was going to pop the Mega. Bedoink had no damage left anyway. Burned his ult, had no mana.
Dream, nice snipe.
If he had hooked Parbu would have just turned Mega. The hook would have worn off. He would have just ulted them and walked away. And Juves really needs to make sure that his first ult usage is impactful. He's had a pretty good game as far as pressure goes, despite the CS differential. But this first ult, he really wants to make it count. So
yeah, absolutely. Blinky, meanwhile, in the bottom lane, has just been caught napping. Jake went on her own with only, and Blinky pays.
Safe hands at it again. Not sure what happened there. Looks like both the Sin bot laners blew their flash, so maybe a flash Varus ult. Blinky has his still, so he probably just got CC'd to death. Just got caught lacking. No support in his lane. Jake, your own mid.
Did you used to watch Hercules in the 90s?
Yeah, I had the computer game as well.
Do you think that Dream looks like the Hercules from the 90s?
He does.
He
actually.
really does. Kevin Sorbo is the actor's name.
Okay.
And he has a really short sidekick.
Wait, okay, hang on. You're talking about like the live action one.
Yeah, live action one.
No, I'm talking about the cartoon.
You're talking about the cartoon.
Because he does kind of look like the cartoon.
Yeah. He does a little bit as well. I feel like that's why they cast it. Actually, they didn't burn anything.
Wait.
Kuna just flashes forward.
When did Varus Master just flashed earlier?
Yeah, Varus did flash early, away from the Olaf, I think.
Okay, so that's just too slow on the flash out.
Died with flash available. You would think that that would have been burnt, as now Bedoink takes a little bit of damage, but trades back effectively. Junglers trade Rift Herald for an Ocean Drake.
Yep.
Ocean Drake, probably the best dragon to have for the first 20 minutes of the game.
Yep.
After that, Mountain and Fire take over.
Yep. I think that's about right. What do you think of the new air? I mean, it's not in this patch yet, but they did buff air on live to give you permanent move speed. I think it's maybe 3% stacking, 3% every time.
Yeah.
As well as bonus out-of-combat move speed. They've really given it a pretty huge buff, to be honest.
Well, I play jungle, and you play jungle most of the time. I always liked Air Drake.
I hate Air Drake.
I felt like, well, you had your old GP10 theory about boots, right? I felt like Air Drakes just allowed me to sit on brown bags and save me 800 gold.
That's a good way to put it.
So I buy boots very early in the jungle because I feel like half your ganks, if you have red buff and boots on your second clear, like your ganks become a lot more effective.
Yeah.
Especially against like champions like Azir and solo queue will sit on like Stinger, like Fiendish Codex, and then you're just so much quicker than them and you pummel them in the head.
Agreed.
So I felt like Air Drake allowed me to do stuff like that. Like it would get me in range for my Lee Sin W, or at the moment I play a lot of Skarner as well.
Oh,
get me in range for that.
Skarner, of course.
So that's why I liked Air Drake. But I think the patch... actually, that's a deep teleport. Let's stop talking about us, as that's going to be Kuden. Big ultimate across 3 people, but the TP from Praedyth is a little bit too late. Parbu doesn't get stunned up. That is another nicely timed Taric ultimate down. However, huge stun onto 2 members. They've split the team fight. In goes the Azir. 4-man Taric stun as well. And you can see the fight has just deteriorated. Only is slapping people. And this will be an ace for only 1 member going over to Avant.
Holy moly. Frey coming up huge in that team fight.
Frey and Jake.
And then Jake with that perfect Taric stun just lined up across them. What an intense fight. I mean, that looked really good for Sin at the start. They were engaging on the Braum, which is always a mistake. Great Varus ult in the choke, was spreading to everyone. Juve still had flash and ult up. He had the potential to flash impale, a priority target, but Frey just swoops in, scoops them all up, and that was all she wrote.
And I want to see whether Praedyth had ultimate or whether he'd ulti to creep, because something that Cho'Gath will do a lot at this stage of the game is try and build his feast stacks.
Yep.
And if so, you can't make teleport plays with him, because really he doesn't do all that much. I felt like that was going to be an alley-oop from Juves into just a plain chomp and a dead member of AV before that team fight started. But it didn't happen. They just lived for so long through that Taric ultimate.
Well, the thing is only the Unstoppable just runs straight through. He gets Varus ulted, just runs straight through. Varus ult doesn't spread as a result. And, I mean, even at this point, it's looking quite good. I mean, they can wait out the Taric ult. The Juves, he flashes on the Gnar, and they just all...
That should have been an eaten Gnar. He should be dead right now. They should be able to stop blowing anything on him. But Frey would have died as well.
Yep. No, you're probably right. I mean, I think Juves could also potentially just saved his ult. You don't want to, you don't want to ult the tank. But I don't know, just swooped in at the last moment. Did Frey, and came up huge for his team. Really broke this game wide open.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the fact that they're able to get a couple of kills now onto Blinky, he's got himself a QSS, nice and safe in these team fights.
He's not dying again.
Only now is 30 odd CS. Up, nearly 40 CS up, to be honest, and has 202. He's massive. 1,500 gold in the lead if you do not mind Carbon.
Yeah, this is the Olaf that your mum warned you about.
Yep.
This is the big beefy guy who you don't want to run into. He's doing damage because of his E.
I can see the pictures being thrown around on Twitter right now. Like, Spooks' Olaf is like you versus the Olaf she told you not to worry about. As the Corrupting Chains hits. Very nice ultimate out of Kuden. Olaf is unstoppable. Can they tag up Blinky? Yes, they can. QSS. Very nice QSS. He's kiting back nicely. Dream has to hit him. Will be able to do that's a shutdown for Dream. However, he too will fall. 2 for 2 trade. 2 for 3 trade, actually.
Yep, in the end, 2 for 3. Victor not able to move into that fight because he has no tower and no river control.
Yep.
So Azir gets there first and manages to turn it in their favor. Look, from behind, I thought pretty creative. I liked it. He almost managed to pick up 2 kills. Burn the QSS on Cogmore. Skarner ult will probably be up around the same time, so he'll probably be safe. And only just takes another opportunity to pretend he's a laner.
Is he going to take the turret?
Hit more towers. Yeah, he will. Yep, his W will come back up in a second here.
So I was actually asking not can he take the turret. I was saying, will he take the turret?
Of course, and all the CS. I mean, this is only we're talking about.
That is bonkers.
This is what he does.
I feel like, I don't know what Raid is like. I will not presume to know what Raid is like.
Yep.
But I feel like if you did that to FBI, he would not be a happy camper.
No, I mean, that's just Only, man. I played a game against Only last year where they were like 5k gold down and he Flame Horizon me.
Yeah, I remember that game. He was playing Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
You guys pushed to his inhibitor.
Yeah.
And he like took everything.
He doesn't care. He's just, as long as he's doing well, that's okay. And to be honest, it's not that bad a trade if it's not to the extreme. You know what I mean? I spoke about in the Order series about how, for me, junglers who can manage to not die throughout an entire game, I have immense respect for. Only does that regularly. It would not surprise me at all if he plays Olaf and doesn't die this game, win or lose.
Which is very impressive because he will be frontlining. You saw him charge in that last team fight.
Exactly.
Juve's now looking for a pick in. Needs to be onto Jake. Does he go? Jake actually burns the flash for it. Nicely done. Blinky gets tagged up. No follow-up, however, available. Kuden's played well this game.
Agree, I think. Despite, obviously, that team fight falling down, I think they played well. Predator popped by Only.
Looking to chase onto a blue buff. See, normally a jungler, Predators for a kill. Only Predators to get to your camps quicker. As Juve looking for something here. Only, however, will have to burn the ultimate. Predators in the back line. Ultimate out of Kuden actually nails Jake, but they split focus and don't go onto the support. Teleport now coming in out of Pabu. Blinky wasn't there either.
Yeah, I feel like maybe just Fog of War coming up huge. They just didn't know where the enemy was. They knew a TP was coming down and just sort of worried themselves out of what was potentially a one-team fight.
Especially given the fact that Dream had Flash, had ulti available, and was on the tail end of that team. He's top lane now, going to catch a huge wave.
Yep.
But certainly potential there. Bedoink just drops a little bit of a gravity field in the middle of the lane, and that's a missed ultimate. However, Frey now runs forward. What the heck just went on? He said, you missed
live anyway. Okay.
And Predator is dead, and Bedoink flashes forward, and I'm finding this game really hard to cast, fellas.
Curious. Very curious. All right, well, let's focus on the positives. So AV pushing in the bottom lane. How did he live?
How did he turn around and walk back into
still, I mean, maybe it was like one of those genius, like,
he baited
we can't see. You know, it's like the meme with all the numbers above his head. Like, he just knows perfectly exactly if I walk the wrong way at this moment, I'll live.
And he does live.
And he forced the Victor flash and a heal. I like it.
He actually won that trade.
He did.
Got an ulti.
He did.
As we take a look how Predator does. Take us through this one.
Well, I mean, what is there to say? He just gets pinned up against the wall, flashes. Sorry, mate. Not going anywhere. And tries to turn, but that ult does a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's always a danger when you're against the Shogath. There's Only.
Righteous Glory.
Ooh.
You know what I reckon?
Yep.
You know what I think a lot of players fall into the trap of? Buying too much move speed.
Okay.
A lot of these Skarners and Olafs will go like they got the Predator, they rush boots, they buy Righteous Glory, what's the Dead Man's Plate?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like at a certain point you're fast enough.
Yeah.
And maybe invest in some tank stats or like a strong tank item and not just investing in move speed all the time. Because there's so many players who like they'll get snowballed a little bit, like Only, or like you can see Juves is doing it as well. But like maybe it would be better if you just build a Warmox.
Yeah.
You're probably fast enough. I don't know. Because the thing is with all these move speed items, they're not as cost efficient because you're paying you're paying extra for the move speed.
Yeah.
And so your front line is often squishier than the opponent's front line, despite you being ahead.
And you only have to be quick enough to catch someone.
Yeah.
Especially in
It's not a race.
In Juves' case, like, if he's on a Spire,
yeah,
he will catch you.
Yeah.
So if it's a Dragon fight, if it's a Baron fight, if they're there first, like this, for example, and they have control over the area,
yep.
Righteous Glory ain't going to mean squat because he's just going to run it. Look how quick he goes already.
He's got the W as well, so he has move speed in his kit too. So, I mean, it's definitely not bad, but I think I notice it a lot. I think people like over-invest into move speed and then actually like, because if you watch like a Sejuani versus Skarner, and Skarner might be ahead, but because he's paying so much extra money for move speed, because he's taking Predator instead of Aftershock, the Sejuani can be behind, but still be significantly tankier.
I notice it a lot when you're also playing champions like Malphite and stuff like that as well, that people will overinvest in like armor, and they won't be on the HP to armor curve. And I think that there is lots of little things like that, or like people who invest in attack speed and they won't realize that they're over the attack speed cap and they should get rid of their Zerka treads and pick up. That's why they've gone Ninja Tabby. And I assume Blinky this game is going to stop after his next attack speed item and maybe even have to go something like IE or, you know, a Merc Scimitar in his build, because with Berserker Greaves and 3 attack speed items, Cogmore goes over with his Q.
Yep, no point going over the cap. A lot of people do it because they just think like, attack speed, that's good on this champion, let me build some more. But yeah, once you hit the cap, there's really no point in building.
I was over attack speed with Aurelia the other day.
With Aurelia?
Yeah.
Oh.
I played Trinity Force Ginsu's Wits End Aurelia. It was good fun.
Did you win?
No.
I'm not surprised.
Thanks, man.
Well, I mean, like,
oh,
that's a reverse laser. Okay.
We have got some tricky League of Legends going on today.
In this game.
Oh, this is fun. As we take a look at where the game's actually at, 4,000 gold right now is the advantage for Avant. They've got themselves the setup around Baron. They've got themselves a Cogmore and Azir and a tanky jungler at this stage of the game. I feel like if they ever get control over the area, they can just duck into Fog of War and pick that one up. Yeah,
they one-shot Baron as soon as they decide to actually pull the trigger. That being said, same as last game, always going to be worried about that Cho'Gath. The flash
Not only that, one thing that people don't often remember, because you can smite during CC, is you cannot smite during suppression.
True.
So if Juves goes over the wall and only doesn't have ult, and he just grabs him, Juves actually, it's not a 50-50 at that point. It's like a Juves is the only one that can hit smite. So if it's in range, he'll win it.
Yep.
And he already outsmited Levi.
So we know he can do it.
Only.
Who's that? 50 CS up, who cares? Smite does the same damage.
206. We got him. As we see Frey now starting to farm up nicely. Gone Morellonomicon, not something you see all that much, as Kuden gets face checked by Only and Jake.
Yeah.
Two very tanky members.
Dream was waiting for the wave in the top lane, so no damage came out, and Only felt... Oh, that feels bad.
That is a mind game.
Juves just worried him out of it.
He roared at him.
A lot of people forget that Skarner has a stun.
Yeah, on his E.
On his E.
Yeah. Crystalline Shatter.
Everyone is just waiting for the hook, but sometimes you can just stun with the E, and then they're like, oh, crap.
That is Baron started up with 2 members. However, they have to peel off almost immediately. You can see Blinky and Jake are trying to control the area, but without them, no one can really hit that ward at the back of the pit without taking Baron aggro.
Yep.
Blinky.
There's going to be a lot of damage from Blinky. That's 2.
Yep, that's half his health.
Half health. But you can sort of see a bit of inexperience, unless... Never mind, the top wave's pushing, so that's actually quite well played. I was going to say, Dream could have just shoved that top wave out this whole time, because there's no need for him to be the Baron, although they've just started again. Yeah,
Kuden actually started that one up, and they say, thanks for the leash, mate. He does not have himself a control ward.
5K,
so Juves has to go over there. 3K, Juves has the flash available, but he wants to go around, and it's already gone. And Sin just give up the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about Dream leaving the top wave, and then as soon as he finally goes to pick it up, AV just pulled the trigger again, and they just didn't have the vision. I mean, they ran out of pink wards, so not able to get anything more than, you know, half a second's worth of vision, and AV played the Baron very nicely.
Yeah, certainly doing that. Gives them now a 5,000 gold lead, and it looks like they have complete control over this game. You see QSS, Guinsoo's, as well as Wits End. You got a QSS in the making, most likely for Frey here.
Yep.
Don't really want to grab Nah. He's 3 levels above you. Olaf can get out of it, and Jake's got one for himself. So really, this team comp going to start to ignore the Skarner, and they can just bum rush the backline.
Yeah, well, there sort of becomes a point when you're playing Skarner where you're no longer looking for aggressive ults, and you're only ulting to peel.
Yep.
You're sort of just sitting on your backline, throwing your E, trying to get those multiple stuns with your auto attacks, and then, you know, hook the tank and let Varus kill him, or you know, you're waiting for someone to blow a QSS, like Victor throws down his W.
Here we go. This is going to be a face check. No, he throws an axe. Very nicely done. With the lack of vision, Ejim and I were actually talking about champions that have abilities to check brushes. Think Gragas, Olaf, Lee Sin with his Q, Elise Spiderling will go up in priority.
Yep.
Just because of that.
Well, here we go.
Actually see a pick because it hasn't been. He's going to get eaten. He's going to fall down. Shut down achieved.
Predator.
And now Predator used. However, he just gets hit real hard. And now he's running away real quickly. Brave Sir Robin there out of only. We'll just bail on the team fight.
And that's exactly what I was talking about before. You build so much move speed, you move so fast, and then it's like, oh wait, I've caught him. You know what I mean? It's like when someone, you know, when you watch on YouTube or like something, or like it happens in animals and people, someone who doesn't know how to fight, but when you run, they know how to chase.
Yep.
So they're chasing, and it's like a it could be an animal, could be a person. They're chasing, but when they finally catch the guy, nothing happens. They don't actually like know how to fight. It's sort of awkward. And that's what it looks like. He just sprints in at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then he's like, hang on, I don't want to be here. And
it's
then
like when cheetahs
running.
tackle like water buffalo and stuff. And you're like, you're still just a tiny animal. This thing's like
they finally catch him, and then they're like, wait a minute, I maybe shouldn't have done this.
Actually, Pabu gets a steal, and now he's going to be able to get the hyper proc, continuing to chase onto Juice. He'll just have to back away.
Juice might be happy about that one.
Nah.
Raiders, where were you? Bro.
Knockup does not hit. However, gets the cannon creep. That's one for him. Baron up creep wave, however, going to be pushing in. A couple of adaptive helms have been picked up. You can see Blinky right now shoving into the mid lane.
Yep, looks like he's going to go for the Merc Scimitar there, which is a good move.
Oh, actually, he's going to get stunned up here. Bedoink, however, taking very low. Good Taric ulti. However, very nice change of corruptions mean Pabu will have to jump away. Gets an ulti of 3 members into the wall, but is he just going to fall down? Yes, he is. Now, unstoppable Olaf tries to run in. Very nice as the ulti traps 2 members into the wall. But they're the tanks. You can see Blinky on the sideline is starting to get shredded. He flashes over the wall. Very nicely done. Juves tries to chase. Blinky will be able to pick up the kill. In the end, it is a 1 for 2. No, 1. Yeah, 1 for 2. And Sin win it.
Yep, all sums burned on both sides. That was a huge team fight. It's going to mean it's going to have a big implication on the next 5 minutes. With no sums on either side, Baron buff now pretty much neutralized by Sin with that team fight. They've put themselves in a really good position to make a comeback. If they pick up this mid tower, they get a little bit of that standing gold back. They're going to be able to shop and probably buy a lot of items. That was, I mean, pretty poor team fighting out of AV.
And that looked like the perfect Azir ulti, because they could have just left the tanks there.
Yep.
But then they started hitting the tanks.
Well, the problem is they're stacked in that little corner against AoE champions.
Yep.
And that's not what you want to be. And I thought Juves had actually used his ult here, but he didn't. This was just CC, and this is what we wanted to see earlier. You don't burn the Skarner ult on the Gnar, and instead, surprise, you can just put this Azir in a pit.
Certainly does, and you can see on the back end, if Blinky had been a little bit slower on that trigger finger, that would have been another member down, and Juves probably would have lived.
Yep.
So fight very close to disastrous, already bad enough. Dream is starting to really ramp up into this game, and maybe, just maybe, we're going to see the re-emergence as Varus as king of the 80 carries, because he just seems to do it all on this patch.
Yeah, and also something to be said for investment in QSSs. We can see that Dream has the same.
Here we go. QSS has been picked up. He slides away. Will be able to get up the wall. However, that's a pretty good...
Here comes Olaf. He's just as quick, though.
Yeah, he's going to try and get into the background. What do you actually do, though, only? You're that quick that you're ahead of your team. Now Praetor says, come back here, mate. Up you go. Misses it. Looking for Frey again. Juves potentially still racing forward. No one's going to die. And Pabu just says, guys, calm down. I'm going to take bottom lane turret.
Yep, so Praetor does burn the TP there, but isn't able to land the Q on only. So they aren't able to continue that team fight. Pabu's going to get a ton of damage on the tower here. But yeah, that's Olaf, ladies and gentlemen. He's 207, 194 CS, level 14. He's ahead of the Skarner, but ultimately all he can do is run very, very fast.
You see, meanwhile, mid lane, turret has been set up. The siege is
here. In the top lane.
They certainly have been. Wave clear, however, out of Victor, very good. Will burn the ultimate. Also runs forward and takes a truckload of damage. Would have liked to have that for this defense, however. AV, back away.
Yeah, Varus will be here in time for this next wave, though, so I think that they'll be okay. AV, if the game keeps going this way, I mean, they probably do outscale, but Sin just have so much sticking power that the longer this game goes, despite having the better team comp, you can always stuff it up.
I mean, the Olaf is, not the Olaf, the Cho'Gath is the only true tank on the map.
Yep.
So they're going to have to put a lot of damage into Praetor.
Yeah, but he's also against a Taric altered Cogmore.
Okay. Yeah.
And you know, given the opportunity, if Blinky plays it well, he can melt this Cho'Gath for sure. I'd like to see maybe a Thornmail or something out of Cho, because we know with that huge attack speed, Blinky's almost going to kill himself. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, even if you have, you know, the outscale, and that's to say, Sin's comp doesn't scale poorly whatsoever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you still need to team fight well, and we've seen that Sin have the ability to hang with him in these team fights. So, longer this game goes.
Also, the fact that the Doink right now has got himself a Seraph, has got himself more mana off the back end of that Lichbane. If he goes towards a Death Cap with the upgraded Hex Core, he's going to be finishing, I did the math on it the other day, around 900 AP.
Yep. He's going to have a ton of damage.
That's one-shot potential out of Blinky. That's what Rookie used to do when Victor was really popular. He would stand on this wall, and if you went up to clear that wall, he would just hit you.
Hang on.
As we have another big engage coming in. Jake on the front line, going to get blown up before his ult goes down. No, he just lived, and now Juve taking a boatload of damage. Victor uses the Chaos Storm, and somehow Pavu's just on the back line. We'll get a one-man Gnar ultimate, but that's not going to be enough. Actually, maybe it is. You see Kunin running away, and Blinky now being chased out, but Azir cuts off that choke point. Kunin will rejoin his team. As you mentioned, Praetor just gets absolutely destroyed. Frey goes in, scoops them back into the choke point, says, hey guys, get to safety while you can.
Yep.
And Baron now probably going to be started as the jungler of Sin Gaming is dead.
Frey loving these scoops at the moment. Keeps trying to go for the big play. Unfortunately, wasn't able to do much more than disengage there, but important nonetheless. They're starting up the Baron. Jake's getting quite low. Sin do know this is happening.
Yeah, they do it so quickly, though. What can you actually do about it? They will be able to take the Baron over the wall. Big damage going on to Dream. Pabu hops forward. Will not be able to go Mega in time. On the back line, Praetor will also join as the tanks go back to the Death Chamber. In goes Frey. Actually flashes Predict Flash from Bedoink. Will be able to pick up another kill. Double kill for Bedoink now. That's no ultimate on Cho'Gath. In flashes Blinky. Gets stunned up. Uses the QSS. Will be able to pick up the kill. Double kill picked up for Blinky. No, only Snake's one of them.
Blinky coming up huge in the end there, putting on his carry pants, flashing forwards, knows he has the QSS for the Brawn passive, and is able to break this game open. This is probably going to be an inhib here. He is quite low, but Juves is going for it.
Juves tries to pick him up. We'll be able to get the stun. We'll be able to get the ulti, but you just do no damage, mate.
Oh, he didn't.
Didn't get him. Ace picked up for Blinky, and now with 30 seconds, they might be able to put some serious work in.
Well, there's a massive wave in the bottom lane here as well, so this is at least going to be 2 inhibs. Still 15 seconds on Victor. Means that they won't be able to end, but definitely 2 inhibs. A lot of creeps going to hit these base towers, so very strong position AV have found themselves in.
Yeah, absolutely. And now with Baron buff just beginning, they haven't even used a quarter of it yet. They're going to get a shop. They're going to get themselves an Infernal Drake, and they're just going to be able to march this one into the top lane and be able to potentially pick up a Game 1 victory. 10,000 gold the lead right now for Avant Gaming.
Yeah, Juves just couldn't find a way in that team fight. He, the only option he had was to either ult the Taric or to ult the Olaf, and of course that does nothing. So he sort of just got burned down and then had to flash out, and well, he didn't have flash, so he died.
Yeah, it is definitely not the way you picture a team fight happening as Skarner.
No.
However, that is the situation he got given.
Only still 0 deaths. Still 0 deaths.
4-0
6 deaths on Juventus. Unfortunate, but I mean, he is their solo engaged pretty much.
Yep.
So
he's also the jungler that if he is behind, just goes in.
Yeah,
he continues to go in.
His score doesn't embarrass him.
Yeah.
He's not worried. If you lose with 0 deaths, you lose with 10 deaths, you still lost. What does it matter?
Exactly right. He's one of those players that we talk about that just hates losing slowly.
Yeah.
So we'll accelerate the pace of the game.
Yep.
As we see Pabu building up a very nice Mega Gnar will actually go in. Big scoop backwards. Nicely done, Bedoink. Going to get blown up before this team fight even begins. And in marches the back lane. You see Pabu starting to take some damage. However, Frey puts in the work. Will be able to take down a member. And that is an absolutely clean 8th. Only Praetor is left alive on the back end. They will just ignore him, rush towards the Nexus. And in what is 35 minutes, Avant able to pick up game number 1. Wasn't pretty. It was a very high kill game. But they put in the work. They were able to, get the team fights they were looking for. And ultimately, that's all that matters as they pick it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, sloppy or not, a win is a win, and AV, they just need that 2-0. They want to maintain 4th spot, so yes, you know, a few areas to clean up, obviously, but they'll take it, I think.
And I think the big thing is you only have to be better than your opponent on the day.
Yep.
And they came in and the game didn't look calculated. However, they knew that Sim was going to be down for like scrappy fights. Yep. And they picked a comp that fought scrappy very well.
Yep.
Olaf able to, you know, continually slow, disrupt that back line. You have Azir, you have Cogmore. Both of these champions just do so well in 5v5. And that really showed.
Yeah, I think both the carries from AV played quite well with both Blinky and Frey, despite Blinky dying early in lane. He did a lot of damage. Would love to see the damage chart from that game. I think Cogmore would be extremely high.
I actually think Blinky has the 2nd highest damage per minute for 80 carries, which I think would surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think he's up there. If he's not 2nd, I think he's 3rd. He plays a lot of Cogmore, however.
I feel like he dies in a lot of team fights. I feel like he often dies in team fights, so it surprises me that his damage share is so high.
That passive, though, puts in work when you're playing on Cogmore.
True damage, man.
In a serious note, however, I think that, you know, only really played his style of jungle this game, and we kind of said the jungle meta could be shifting, and I think that this shows that for a control jungler like Juves that wants to have ganking impact, that a farm jungler like Only can just put the whole jungle on cooldown and accelerate the pace of that game.
Yeah, I mean, jungle is such a complex role.
Yep.
There are so many small things that impact the way it works and the way the players think. So many, almost all, well, for a good jungler, most movements are based on assumptions. You're constantly guessing about what the right thing to do is. And so it's a tough one to call, I think. I just think Only, he does the same thing every time. He always power farms. He would power farm every time. Juves had the potential to keep up with him. He couldn't because his lanes were losing early. We saw Olaf continually invade that bot side. He did manage to counter with the blue buff, but really that was the only time we saw Juves on the other side of the map. So I had to say Only played really well around his lanes, but I think Juves maybe could have been a bit more proactive. All
right, so ultimately it was going to be the winning lanes on the bottom side of the map that pick it up. Very nice job out of Blinky and Frey to break that game down further. Let's throw it over to Sharp as well as Laura.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, I'm joined here once again by Sharp. And Carbon was just talking about Juves there. And Juves is the first person I want to talk about because, Sharp, you were saying the Skarner pick and the strength of Skarner was making everyone on Avant build QSSs.
Yeah, so I think that's something that is quite undervalued in the pick itself. So Skarner obviously has quite a strong kit, not just with his ultimate, with the E as well, with the stun ability there. So I think that what a lot of people overlook is the fact that Skarner forces the enemy to build QSS. So that game, both Cogmore and Azir were forced to build QSSs. And what that actually does, it kind of lessens, actually extends the amount of time it takes for these type of champions to reach their power spikes. So Azir, although got a really great start to the game, managed to soak a lot of that pressure from Juves in the early gank, as well as get a really great ultimate off and team fighting ability in the bot river that game. Wasn't as strong as it would have been if that Skarner was potentially another pick.
Well, the Skarner curse will continue in OPL, however, not doing too good in those games. But I think we need to give some props to Frey as well, because if you take a step back, he had some big shoes to fill coming into the split, replacing Triple on the side of Avant, but he put up a great performance, considering Sin were putting so much pressure on him in the mid lane.
Yeah, so like obviously he was dominating Bedoink in that early laning phase, nearly shoving Bedoink out before he was able to buy that the first upgrade for the Hex Core. And then obviously Juves came in, tried to relieve that pressure and actually forced both summoners out of Frey. And given that, even though a lot of players in that situation would actually crumble and, I don't have both summoners now, what am I going to do? But he actually was still a pressure point for Avant and managed to, obviously with that bot team fight, bring a massive amount of damage and set up Avant for a clean ace.
And with that early game that Avant had, the early game lead, I should say, that Avant had, why did it take them so long to close it out? What was going on? Because some of those team fights, especially towards the end of the game, were a lot closer than I would have anticipated.
Yeah, so again, this is something I touched on in the games versus with Legacy and Order, that some of the lower to mid-tier teams, what they do is they really struggle, and even in Direwolves, something that we've struggled with is that when you have these key abilities, like for example, in this team, you've got the Ragnarok from Olaf, and potentially Nair Ultimate, these type of abilities. What you really want to do is coordinate these abilities and have a plan to use them effectively. And what we saw is that Only was constantly overextending and having to blow his Ragnarok without a real purpose and more using them defensively rather than proactively, which limited their ability to kind of push their lead from the early game that they had gotten and really close out that game. So I think that was probably one of the main reasons as to why Avant really couldn't push their lead.
Well, you did tip Sin to take one game from this series. Do you think that Sin need to pull out something left field to take a game off Avant?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm actually surprised Sin didn't pull out anything kind of left field there. They had the opportunity to, but they managed to go quite standard all across the board. Let Victor quite a standard pick into Azir, Varus, Braum, standard against Skarner and Cho'Gath. So I'm really looking for something out there, whether it's Choose or whether it's Praedyth. I know he's played some strange picks. I don't know what he's been playing a lot of damage tops. I think he's played Lucian or even Yasuo. I don't know what he's been playing. But yeah, like I think they really should pull out something, given that they're at the moment they don't really have too much to lose.
I'm looking forward to see if they do pull out something next game. But before we do get into our next game, we asked you at home to send in some questions for Sharp to answer, and we've got 5 for him to answer right now. The first one comes in from Andrew, who says, "What are your thoughts on the new champion, Kai'Sa?"
So one thing, like immediately looking at the ability in the kit, something for an 80 carry to have that sort of dash ability with the W in the, it doesn't really make too much sense with the, because generally when you're ahead, those type of abilities where you really want to get on their backline and make a pick, they're really good. But for when you're behind, those sort of abilities aren't too useful. So I think for a champion, like, how do you say it again?
I think Kai'Sa.
Kai'Sa. It would be a champion that you could probably snowball very heavily with. And if you're ahead, being able to make picks in the side lane, potentially with someone like your top lane really bullying the enemy top laner. But if you're behind, I don't really see too much use for some of those abilities.
High risk, high reward.
Yeah, exactly.
Our second question comes in from James, who says, "Hey Sharp, what do you think it takes to become a coach for an OPL and OCS team?"
So I think I answered a question similar to this in the past, but basically what I would do is kind of diversify your skill as a coach. So not just in game. Try and diversify your skills in the terms, okay, what can I offer outside of in-game macro? Or can I offer something that's maybe more of an individual micro, or could I offer something in terms of leadership, or like I said, potentially psychology or management or whatever it is? Bring something to the organization outside of pure in-game, and I think that really will set you up. So whether or not that's kind of building that content for yourself, creating a really good portfolio in terms of building up potentially YouTube videos or PowerPoint presentations, really being able to demonstrate your knowledge, and then have the people skills to kind of, I guess, demonstrate that to the organization. And since Oceania is like quite new, right? Like we're probably one of the youngest regions. What you would want to be doing is that these organizations are looking for people that they want to keep around for quite a long time. So if you're really interested in that type of stuff, I'd really look into like getting up your people skills, diversifying your skills as a person, and then really looking to get out there and meet some of these people.
Our third question comes in from Aiden, who says, "What is the best way to support the Direwolves?"
So yeah, we recently had a membership launch. So I guess head off to, I think it was membership.direwolves.gg. Go onto the Twitter. I don't know the exact URL right there, but yeah, we've got a membership program just starting with a bunch of awesome stuff in there, like courses that myself and that the players have been working on. So it's really, really cool. So yeah, check it out. Check it out on the website.
Our fourth question comes in from Cyclone, the coach of Tectonic. I'm sorry, Cyclone, you won't be getting a mystery skin, but he sent in a good question that I thought we should ask. He says, "What do you find the most challenging about building the culture in your team, and what's been the most rewarding thing to come out of that culture?"
Yeah, so well, I guess in any esports team, it's run in a similar sense to a normal business, how the culture really gets dictated by the top people in the organization. So whether or not for us, it's potentially me and Nathan, the CEO, and Dave. We kind of, these are the people at the top. They kind of bring about the way we act, and through our values kind of trickles down to everyone else in the organization. So I think that the most challenging thing is just being consistent in the way I act and being conscious of, okay, if I act this way, it's going to obviously affect how my players are also going to act. So I guess the most challenging thing would be being consistent and knowing and I guess seeing the value in acting in a certain way, and recognizing that, you know, a lot of the players on your team are quite young and they're going to be molded by your behavior as well. So just keeping that in the back of your mind. But in terms of the most rewarding thing, just seeing how that eventual progression and how it's actually wearing off on some of the players around you and creating that really awesome environment. And I guess seeing the benefits of it in the terms of having a direct correlation to our performance. So when we have a healthy environment and culture, both at the Esports High Performance Center, it definitely translates into both our recovery in between games. So, for example, Direwolves have been able to take out game threes, which I don't think last year we would have been able to do. I think we actually dropped game threes last year to Legacy. So, yeah, so having that direct influence on the way we play games. as well as just being a great place to work.
Our fifth and final question comes in from Nate, who says, Dear Curtis, what new skin are you looking forward to the most, and why is it Birdio? Warm regards, Nate.
Yeah, I actually saw that skin. It's pretty cool.
I
thought it was kind of a troll. I didn't even think it was going to get released, but yeah, that's like really, really cool. So I actually don't like Galio. I think Galio is the most annoying champion in the game to verse with his ultimate. So it may be an awesome skin, but I'm not going to buy it. Sorry, Riot.
What about the new Sipper one?
The new Siva?
The pizza delivery one.
Yeah, it doesn't have pineapple on it?
No, okay,
Isn't that one?
I think, yes, it does, but with the different chromas, they have different toppings on the pizzas. So, like, yeah, you can have different types of pizzas depending on which chroma you pick.
As long as the pizza doesn't have pineapple on it, I'll probably buy that skin.
I love pineapple on pizza.
To be honest, I just find it absolutely disgusting.
I used to like
can't
you.
stand it.
Like
Doesn't deserve to be on pizza. It's a fruit.
It's so good, though. Anyway, thank you, everyone, for sending in your questions. And congratulations on your mystery skins you just picked up. We're going to head to a break. But when we get back, we're going to have game number 2 between Avant and Sin.
The Azir, 4-man turret stun as well, and you can see the fight has just deteriorated. Only is slapping people, and this will be an ace for only one member going over to Avant. Now unstoppable, Olaf tries to run in. Very nice Azir ulti, traps 2 members into the wall, but they're the tanks, so you can see Blinky on the side lane is starting to get shredded. He flashes over the wall, very nicely done. Jubes tries to chase. Blinky will be able to pick up the kill. In goes Frey. Actually flashes, predict flash from Bedoink. Will be able to pick up another kill. Double kill for Bedoink now. That's no ultimate on Cho'Gath. In flashes Blinky. Gets stunned up. Uses the QSS. Will be able to pick up the kill. Big scoop backwards. Nicely done Bedoink. Gonna get blown up before this team fight even begins. And in marches the back lane. You see Pavu starting to take some damage. However, Frey puts in the work, will be able to take down a member, and that is an absolutely clean ace. Only Praetor is left alive on the back end. It was a very high kill game, but they put in the work. They were able to, get the team fights they were looking for, and ultimately that's all that matters as they pick it up.